Big day today for people who own Apple devices, as Microsoft has finally extended the open alpha or beta, however you want to look at it, for Project xCloud to those devices. So I have an iPhone XS and I was able to finally participate in the beta here at my home. Now, recall I did a video last year when I attended E3 FanFest 2019. I got a lot of hands-on time there with Project xCloud, and I wasn't a big fan of the input latency. I thought it was very, very sluggish. Thankfully, I can say that that is completely gone. You're able to play, the only game right now, unfortunately, is the Master Chief Collection, which it's okay, because that really is a great game as a benchmark. We all know how it should feel and how it should play. So it's a good way to kind of see how the service works. That said, there are some major graphical issues that are going on right now, and it is a beta, I understand. So let's jump over some gameplay footage. I recorded this from my phone earlier, and I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, everything you're looking at here was captured earlier today on my iPhone XS. This was a wireless connection, obviously, in my house right next to my router. I was getting about 95 megabit down. I checked it twice to make sure. So there's definitely no issue in terms of not getting the recommended 20 down that is recommended from Project xCloud's official frequently asked questions. You'll notice a few things. One, things have a sense of blur to them. I noticed that a lot of the textures just in general weren't as crisp as they should have been. There is definitely some downscaling that is occurring here as you transition from an iPhone screen to a computer screen. So I'm not picking on the fact that there's borders on the side and some of the text itself has a little bit of smudge to it. That is an inherent problem with recording video from one media and transferring it to another. But just in general, some of the textures looked a little muddier than I remember. That is primarily because they are compressing and decompressing a video signal. This is exactly what happens on every streaming service. You take a nice crisp picture and you are basically compressing it and decompressing it, and it loses some of that vibrancy and some of that pop. Definitely does not have that HDR look and that HDR feel to it. What you're noticing here on Silent Cartographer, probably the most iconic of any Halo mission ever, is a lot of weird pixelization and a lot of frame rate jitter. It definitely has a much slower latency where things just kind of slow down very, very slowly and then kind of slowly unslow down. And you get bursts of nice, clear 60 frame a second footage, and then you get this really slow frame rate. You'll also notice, as I've been talking over these videos, every so often you'll see what I call this wash down effect, where the entire screen seems to lose some sort of sync and it almost has to retrack where everything is. And you basically have this effect in which everything just briefly looks like you're looking underwater or through some kind of like stained glass door, and it just doesn't have a good look to it. You notice that I kind of intentionally do things odd to see if it had anything to do with how much draw distance I was experiencing, or if I was in a more lit area or a darker area. But unfortunately, it just seems that is an inherent issue of the service right now. This was something I did not notice at E3 2019, but it's definitely prevalent here. I have since tried this mission again later in the day, and I am still having the same issue. I've tried it across any of the Halo games to see if maybe it was just a Halo Combat Evolved issue. It is not. It's definitely an issue with the service. So you're going to be experiencing definitely washed down graphics. You're definitely going to be experiencing this weird effect. Sometimes textures in of themselves just almost seem to vanish or have this very weird pixelization to them, while other ones right next to them seem to be working well. And then you have this kind of weird wash down effect where everything resets before it kind of self-corrects itself and you can continue to play. But there are a couple caveats to this. I have had zero issue with control. I want to be very, very precise on that. No issues with control. I've never lost any controller movements. Everything controls exactly as it should, even if the visual picture was not matching what I was doing. So there you have it. That's some actual gameplay from Project xCloud, and I'm impressed. I think it has a ways to go. I think the Microsoft engineers have definitely fixed that control issue, but there's still some definite visual issues going on. If you don't mind that, I think this is going to be a phenomenal additional service to what Microsoft is trying to do with the ecosystem. As an aside, I had a very difficult time connecting my Xbox One controller to my iPhone XS. As a matter of fact, I was unable to do it with different controllers at all. I don't know if this is an issue with the way Xbox codes Bluetooth or the way that iPhone receives a Bluetooth signal. I've read that there are some controllers that seem to work better than others. It has to do with if it is a enabled with Bluetooth controller. You can tell largely on the controllers. You see how there's a seam right here and there's a seam right here. Apparently, controllers that have a flat piece across the top generally have a better Bluetooth performance profile, which really is baffling. I didn't know there was such things as a Bluetooth performance profile, but hey, we learn something new every day. I had zero issues with my Sony DualShock 4 controller. As a matter of fact, all the footage I recorded for you guys earlier in this video was played with my DualShock 4, which was interesting to play Halo on a Sony controller. But aside from the controlling issues, which I'm not picking on xCloud for, I just want to point that out, I had no issue. I opened up my game and I played, and I think that is the level of difficulty we need to have going into this solution. It needs to be very simple. There needs to be limited peripherals. It needs to just work, and thankfully it did. I think there's still some issues, though, with Microsoft relying on other people's ISPs or other people's cell phone carriers to pick up the weight with some of these reliable download signals. Unfortunately, Xbox cannot control the fact that Sprint service sucks in Orlando. And unfortunately, Xbox cannot control that Spectrum sometimes has some significant performance issues, particularly on weeknights. So they are relying on other internet providers to fix the problem that they are unfortunately, limited to doing anything about. All the best streaming in the world, all the best encoding in the world may decrease the amount of digital footprint that you need to have when downloading and playing in these stream games. However, if it's not a reliable connection and it's yo-yoing all over the place, you're going to have issues. And maybe that's what you saw today. Maybe it's just a victim of bad internet. Even though I'm in my home and it wasn't a wired connection, maybe there was a major signal issue and that was happening. I highly doubt that. However, it does go to show that the best streaming technology in the world can only go so far. And to me, as long as you have a portable console like the Nintendo Switch, it's going to be a hard sell for me to not play that when I'm on travel, when I'm in a hotel room, when I'm out and about, as opposed to this, because if my signal doesn't work, I am completely cut off. The nice thing about a Nintendo Switch is all of that processing happens on the console itself. There's no interdependency for anything other than having a nice good battery charge to it. But that goes with any electronic. So hope you guys enjoyed this quick review and recap of the Project xCloud beta. It's still going on right now. They are taking lots of invitations and extending games for people. Supposedly, they will be adding more games to the Apple portion of the beta here in the future. If they do and it warrants a re-review, I will definitely go back and update this video. But as it stands now, I think it's a phenomenal idea. I think the controls are absolutely rock solid, but the visuals definitely leave a lot to be desired. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and take care of yourselves. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.